He tossed my suitcase down the steps, like it insulted him, told me to take the screaming outside, and shut the door on my face while a contraction bent me in half. That's how the night started, rain on the porch rail in Harbor Point. Gripping the blue door, I painted back when love felt easy, and Tyler looking bored like I was making a scene for fun. I said I was in labor. He said I was not his problem. I laughed once. You ever laugh when your brain can't handle a new kind of cruel? Then I walked into the street, 'cause where else do you go when the person who promised forever points at the curb? A neighbor cracked her door, said she'd call a ride. Then closed it again, 10 minutes. 10 minutes is forever when your body is trying to deliver a human. But the driver who pulled up took one look, slid his jacket over my shoulders, tucked an arm under mine and said, "Despital." I said fast, and we flew past neon signs and the black water of the bay, while I breathed in 4 and out 6. Like the class taught me phone buzzing, not touching it, because you already know what it says. Stein. Eliza smelled like bleach, and mercy nurses with warm hands, and no interest in my shame. Said, "You're doing fine. We've got you." "Monitors," chirped. My daughter's heart beat fast. Little drum, and I held that sound like a rope. Then my mother came in with perfume and judgment. "Darlene sits like a fundraiser and talks like a judge. Tyler called me," she said. "He's worried you've been difficult. Maybe temporary guardianship. Until you're calmer." The nurse looked at me like, "Your move," I said. "Please leave," she said. "Excuse me," I said. "Please leave," again. Steadier. And the silence after she walked out felt like a room. I could finally breathe in. Labor is pain and math, and details you never forget. The grain in the rail, you grip the wall clock, clicking like it's teasing you, the way the word brave lands in your palm like a small stone. Then, Ortiz said she could see hair, and I pushed, and the air tore open, and there she was, furious and perfect, 6 pounds of proof that love can live through an eviction. I said hi and laughed and cried at the same time. The nurse slid a pink hat on her damp hair, and I gave her the name I carried since the summer. My dad taught me to pick tomatoes without bruising them. June and I whispered, "I'm here. I'm not going anywhere," and felt a steel rod settle down my spine. Morning. I finally turned the phone over and let the lie machine do its job, Tyler's careful voice in a group thread about concern and safety and heartbreak. Sunday school words for the same old story. She's unstable. Pray for her. Someone answered. Pray for him too. The weight he's carrying. I set the phone face down. Before it turned me to salt, a volunteer. Snapped a Polaroid by the window. Me June Harbor behind us, morning breaking. I tucked it under my pillow like a flag, then checked out into a one-room walk-up with a heater that worked. If you kicked it on the left at a neighbor who watched June nights for cash and soup mornings, I scrubbed an office on Dock Street, where the receptionist called me Han, and never learned my name nights. I served plates under harsh lights and louder opinions. You know what I mean? People get brave when they think you can't hear. That's Tyler's first wife. She lost it bad. He had to protect himself. His new girl is a real one. Classy, not like the last one. I poured coffee and let my face go still, because you cannot fight every lie with a speech. And I learned to catch the tiny jokes life throws you, so you don't drown like the lady who sent back pancakes because the blueberries were not symmetrical, sure ma'am. I'll call the Blueberry Union. Now the part I never said out loud then, because safety sometimes looks like silence. Under my mattress sat a cedar box from my father Henry. Gentle, the way good men are when no one's watching inside. were letters and a trust he built because he had eyes. Darlene loved cocktail parties. Tyler loved mirrors. Both loved the idea of me. When I shined, my father just loved me 20 million in a separate trust with iron around it, beyond the reach of any husband with a charming voice untouched. Because I am careful, not saintly. One Tuesday, after a double, I took that box to Adler Law. Glass walls, real degrees. A lawyer who didn't condescend, he said. Your father built granite. Lena, he can't touch a dime. I said, then we begin, he said, begin. What I said, buying my ex-husband's company, and the smile in his eyes told me I had just become his favorite story. Grayson Harbor Logistics. Tyler's Pride gold logo, and a stolen slogan about reliability. But companies aren't castles, they're math, and people, and timing. Adler set up shells because clarity isn't always rewarded. I learned to read filings like weather gossip, like wind. Held my face still in broker offices, while my heart did jumping jacks every week a little more, a percentage here, a percentage there, while Tyler posted hustle quotes like he invented work. And Sloane, the woman who wore my wedding tux like a hand-me-down on his body, placed herself on his left, where the camera likes him better. She's beautiful. I won't lie. People think beauty and goodness go steady. They don't. I saw her at the Seafarers Hotel bar with Kellen. A rival with cleaner spreadsheets and dirtier ethics. She slid a folder across the table. He slid a smile back. Call it networking if you want. I call it insurance. Darlene swept into my walk-up when my back straightened and my clothes got sharper. Like confidence has a scent. She looked around like a realtor and said, You found money. Did a church help? Or a man, be honest? I said, I found my backbone. That's free. She tried for a Mother of the Year smile. A rising tide lifts all boats. I said, You locked your door when I knocked. In labor, told me to stop causing scenes. The only boat you lifted was your own. Get out a hairline crack. Crossed her face, then smoothed. You'll regret talking to me that way. Maybe I said. But not today. Tyler's empire started leaking where people could see supplier gone. In Providence, contract dead in Savannah. Rumor about payroll in the paper. He threw a stapler that stuck in a foam wall. Like sad modern art. Smiled through an interview about turbulence and opportunity. Posted a gym selfie captioned, Grit. Sloane framed the shot then. Like Tyler are weather vanes, shaped like men. They spin and call it leadership. 3 months after June's birth. Heat wave making the bay smell like pennies. The Seafarers Museum hosted the Harbor Gala white gloves and bought tables. Tyler sponsored gold banners with his logo, a step, and repeat shiny enough to fix your lipstick in. I didn't buy a table. I was invited by the board. And yes, that still pleases me. I wore a consigned silver dress, tailored within an inch of its life, and walked in. Like the floor. Owed me a favor, heads turned. Someone hissed my name like scandal and prayer. Tyler's glass ticked against his teeth when he saw me. They will let anyone in, he said. Glued on, I said. Don't worry, I was invited. Sloane's hand tightened on his arm. Who, she asked. By the people who own the building, I said, which was true, and by the people who had something else to announce, truer. Lights dimmed board chair. Cassandra Velez took the mic with the kind of poise you can't rent before we auction off a weekend in Nantucket. A brief item of business. Adler slid a remote into my palm. I pressed it. Screens flipped from drone shots of the bay to filings. A web of entities. Dates, purchases. The room started doing math. You could hear breath by breath. Cassandra said an anonymous investor began acquiring Grayson Harbor last quarter and holds a controlling position as of 7 p.m. Tyler laughed too high. Whoever it is should thank me. Without me, there's nothing to buy, then thank you, I said, because it's me. Lenses snapped. Someone clapped once, then got embarrassed. That's impossible, he said. You're broke. You live in a box. I tilted my head. I live where I can think, and my father didn't raise a fool. The screens changed again, and there were his emails. Black. Text on clean white. Her father's trust is separate, but pressure works. She'll fold. She always folds. A laugh rippled through the room like a cough. Cassandra said, effective immediately per the bylaws. And the vote taken this afternoon, Mr. Grayson is removed as CEO. He blinked like she used a language he refuses to learn. You can't, we did. She said. I pressed the button, and green bubbles bloomed texts between Sloan and Kellen. Times attachments supplier lists. Walking out tidy as a PDF fake. She said. Too fast, Adler adjusted his glasses pulled from your cloud Ms. Pierce. The room made that gasping sound people make when a car misses a stroller by inches. Sloan turned on Tyler. You were never going to stay faithful, and he stared at her. Then. Nowhere, because men like Tyler can perform. Until the script runs out, and the script had run out. From the third row, my mother said my name soft and buttered. Lena, the screens flipped again. There it was. Transfers and notes. Thank you for supporting me in court. The baby belongs with me. A jeweler's invoice for a bracelet. I never wore, and she always did. Darlene went pale under her spray tan. The row around her shifted back like a tide. I thought I was doing what was best, she said, hand to her throat. You were doing what was comfortable, I said. Best is what you do when it hurts. She reached across people. I didn't move. Please don't talk now. You've said enough. Tyler took a step that turned into a stumble, and then his knees hit the polished floor. Not because he meant to kneel, but because pride and gravity don't coordinate. Please, he said. Hands open. Don't take everything. I looked down and felt light, not gloating, not rage. Something steadier. I'm not taking anything. I said, I'm taking back what is mine, and what belongs to the people who move our freight, and the truth we work under. Board escorted him out past a bronze statue of a fisherman, and his boy Sloan, left on higher heels than she arrived in phone. Already calculating angles, Cassandra shook my hand, like we'd closed on a house I left before dessert, because my sitter has her own kid, and money isn't a reason to miss bedtime. Yeah, that happened. After everybody argued like it was a sport. I'm ruthless. I'm a saint. I should forgive for peace, as if peace is free. Employees got childcare stipends. I hired Priya to run operations, because she understands docs and people. Tyler's lawyers sent letters about seeing June. I sent letters back about therapy and accountability and not repeating harm. Darlene left 3 voicemails that got shorter and more human. Maybe I'll call her back, maybe I won't. Forgiveness isn't a coupon. It's a custom job. You decide to pay for or not. And every night I look at the Polaroid from the hospital and the remote from the gala and my kid asleep with one hand splayed across her cheek. And I think power might not be the right word. What I feel is more like a steady current under the boat. So tell me, what does justice look like to you in this one? Should a mother who took money to lie be forgiven if she truly apologizes? Should a man who weaponized unstable get a key to the house where his child sleeps? Do we punish, protect, rebuild? Drop your take in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from. And if you believe stories like this deserve daylight, hit subscribe and pull up a chair. We've got more truth to tell.